The world of Steins Gate Zero takes place on the Beta World line, a timeline where Kurusu Makise is accidentally killed by Okabe Rintaro. He traveled back in time over and over using Omni Souza's time machine to try and prevent this from occurring. In the original game, there was a true ending where Kurusu lived, thus creating a perfect ending for the main cast. However, for the sequel, the developers decided that the story should branch off from the pivotal moment of learning that in a possible universe where he accidentally kills her, he gives up and refuses to try again. Throughout the story, you'll see Okabe Rintaro constantly being haunted by that traumatic experience. He goes to therapy and takes anxiety medication to help cope with the trauma. Characters will also point out that he's changed, and when they look into his eyes, all they see is sadness. This is a very realistic approach to trauma and made me really connect with Okabe even more than in the original game. However, there is a consequence that came from choosing to not save Kurusu, and that is in the form of World War III. Kurusu was carrying important documents that were stolen by her father soon after her death. These documents were related to the creation of a time machine, and were the cause of a Cold War involving Russia, the United States, and Japan, resulting in the loss of 5 billion lives. Omni Souza comes from the year 2036 to prevent this hellish world from ever occurring, but because Okabe refuses to save Kurusu so he doesn't have to re-experience her death, Souza sticks around trying to convince him at every turn to do so. The player will also delve deeper into the lives of characters, new and old, learning key details about their motivations and convictions. Itaro Hashida is a character who is integral to the creation of the time machines and receives much needed spotlight and more character growth. New characters such as Hyajo Maho add more charm to an already excellent cast of characters and enhance the experience. This is even more apparent as Okabe isn't the only perspective we view the story from, as the player will often switch between various characters' viewpoints such as Omni Souza and Hyajo Maho. The story can only be described as a slice of life in science fiction. The characters will bring up various subjects relating to biology, engineering, and psychology. The game kindly gives you definitions and explanations in a menu labeled as tips, so the player isn't confused or lost. However, that's not the only thing you'll learn about in the tips menu, as the world these characters live in has its own variations on history and pop culture. They'll reference various political figures in the real world and gives them different names. This also includes the large amount of internet slang the characters keep using due to how involved in otaku culture the cast is. You may even recognize some animes the game parodies, such as Juju's Bizarre Adventure. As a visual novel, Steins Gate Zero doesn't have much to offer in terms of gameplay, but that comes with the territory because the genre is so heavily focused on story. What gameplay Steins Gate Zero does have is revolved around Okabe's cell phone. How you respond to text messages and phone calls will affect the ending of the game, and unfortunately it isn't very obvious when these instances occur. New to the phone mechanic is the Amadeus application. Throughout the game, you will talk to an artificial intelligence based on a character in the game. The player's ending will highly depend on the interactions with this app. Sometimes the app will call Okabe and you can choose to ignore it or answer it. There will be times during an event where the game does not tell you to call the app, but you should try to make the AI happy. This can be very frustrating when trying to achieve the true ending. However, the game makes it convenient to try and fix choices due to the generous quick save mechanic. At every important story event, the game will make a quick save to return to if the player did not like your choice. Lastly, the presentation for Steins Gate Zero is absolutely marvelous, and makes the experience feel special. However, looking back at the original Steins Gate, there was an art style change between games. This is not really an issue, however, when they reuse character portraits when everyone else has an updated look, it looks very distracting. This is especially so when the same character has an updated portrait to match the art style, but for a specific chapter they revert back to the old look. Other than that one issue, visually Steins Gate Zero's art is breathtaking. Sound is also excellent, and while it is disappointing that there is no English cast, it really isn't an issue, just something to make note of. The absolute best part of the sound design is the soundtrack. From energetic tunes to somber pieces like Gates of Steiners, the game knocks it out of the park and had me searching up soundtracks on YouTube immediately. Overall, Steins Gate Zero is an exceptional experience and should be on the radar of any visual novel fans. If you're not a fan of the genre, you won't find much here to enjoy due to how the story centralizes around reading text. But for those of you who are, you're in for a real treat. And that does it for our review of Steins Gate Zero. To see the more full, detailed, and written review, be sure to check out our website, gaminggamma.com. A link to the review will be provided down in the description bar below. Also, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a comment down in the comment section below, and subscribe for future reviews, giveaways, and Let's Plays. And as always, everyone, this is GammaLad, signing off.